we going? What's the consensus?
What's somewhere pretty that's close?
Well, we can always head back up to Mount Washington.
Yeah, it usually doesn't take that long. It's not out of Mount Washington. Everybody, this is Robbie at Amped again, and I have Kurt, John, Anthony, then the famous Oliver Love here as our guest star. It's probably the only guest star we'll ever have, but
he should have cleared from Texas just to do this.
Yeah, this is specific, but this is Ask Amped. In case you're unfamiliar with the show, basically we take your questions, which you will submit via in the comments below or on the YouTube video that Anthony puts up at a later date, which should be, this is probably going to go up on Saturday. So
probably Saturday night, Monday.
We were talking about the schedule before. This is probably going to be a Saturday thing. We're going to film these on Thursdays, and when I get back on Saturday, I'm going to edit it and put them up. But we have all of your questions here in the Helm of Reasoning, which I don't think that's been used on any other table talk before. I think I just invented that now. Nate Fritter says, "Hey guys, I'm going to AMS Op Ironclad down at Camp Shelby. Now, seeing that this is my first 24-hour event, what should I do with my loadout? Have a lot of mags or what? Great videos, yada, yada, yada." We might have had this last time too. But anyway.
Dude, you're the one responsible for the questions.
I know. I'm just saying. We might have had doubles.
All right, for a big, long game like that, try to go light as possible. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Water, BBs, and just the essentials. Don't try to bog yourself down with a lot of unnecessary things. Out of everybody here, Oliver has the most experience in running long events, being in long events and playing, so he might be able to shed a little more light on it than the rest of us.
Yeah, if you're looking for exact numbers on stuff, it's going to depend on what you and your team do. A lot of my guys run 5 mags on their body, 1 in the gun. Carry some water, carry some snacks. If your blood sugar gets low, nobody likes it when you become a diva on the field. Change out your socks, bring lots of fresh socks. A clean uniform in the middle of the night does wonders for your attitude in the middle of a game. But basically just pack a bag or a case that you can take with you that you can leave at your CP, that every time you guys redcon out of the game, you go straight back to that pack, recharge your mags. If you need a new battery, recharge your tank if you're on an HPA rig. But basically just make that stop number 1 and organize it so it's easy to go through, get yourself ready to go, and then basically get back into the game.
Gatorade chews are awesome.
Yes.
Cliff Bars. Love Cliff Bars.
Stay with low sugar items.
Yeah, keep in mind that at those games, you might not be shooting as much as you think, because it's not as fast paced as you think it would be. Like John said, it's a marathon. You're not, I mean, let's compare like a 24-hour event like the AMS op you're going to like a John Liu event or something that's split up into 4-hour segments. For that 4 hours, everyone knows it's only 4 hours, so they're going hard constantly for that 4 hours. At these games, since it's 24 hours, everyone knows that, so they're pacing themselves. So you're not getting into firefights every 5 minutes and shooting, you know, your entire battle load at once. It's more spread out over that time. Like, I know, me personally, at the last Black Sheep event, I went through like 6 mags for the entire event.
Yeah,
so
we're in the same way.
And it depends on players too, but like I said, it depends on the event, and you're just going to have to play them to see what you need to carry. So, all right, Kurt.
You'll be happy to know that event's not 24 hours either. There's a break in
I think so.
Sometime Saturday night.
It's usually about, what, 12 hours, and then there's a break?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, 12 hours, then there's a short break, and then it picks back up.
Okay, this is from Ninja Turtle 1980. Is that Gordo?
That's Gordo.
That's
okay,
Gordo.
Hi, Gordo.
Hello, Gordo.
Gordo!
Okay, what?
He's a really nice local guy.
Really nice
Hi,
local
Gordo.
guy.
He's awesome.
Super smart guy.
Okay, what is the status of the Amped Humvee? Is it still good for long travel? I saw the previous video of the Humvee insertion at SCA. Kudos to you guys for coming up with the idea. The Humvee is...
It works.
It works. It's, you know, we're actually trying to get our 50 done for it and a couple other guns for it. We're trying to take it to a lot more ops, whether it's local or not. Probably our maximum range, 6 to 7 hours away.
Yeah,
about our...
You need to understand with the Humvee, it has a max speed of 85. So
65.
I'm sorry, was it 65? Max speed of 65, but we keep it at 55. What did I say?
85.
I had it going 70.
This isn't a DeLorean. Like
traveling in time. No, you got to add like an extra 15 minutes per hour Humvee time to take in consideration of how slow you are.
Yeah,
so.
it's For long trips, like we took it to Georgia. Oh my God,
That was a shit show.
that was 30 hours of pure pleasure.
We drove it back from Shreveport, Louisiana when we bought it, and that was a trip.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad though.
No.
I had a lot more fun on that one.
Yeah.
It's tall
So-
grass messing with me.
Okay.
It just drove us here for this though, so
That's-
it's
Yeah,
running.
It's gonna be put together into this. So.
Tosa Tur, you guys going to Feudal Garden?
Well, that must be a while ago.
Is that Game Pass already? Is that?
Did that happen already?
I don't know. What do you mean?
Feudal
I'm
Garden.
not sure if Feudal.
Feudal
that
Garden's
the
the
M-Sato
M-Sato
one?
game, but I
Yeah.
think they're running another one.
Let me Google that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
They're running
another
tell you
one in
tell you what,
September.
pass
Yeah,
the
it was
helmet
supposed to be
down,
it was supposed to be in August, wasn't
John,
it?
I'll Google that while Oliver answers
Yeah.
the questions. Pass
Alright.
it down.
Oliver.
Tell me. Let's go. All right, what do we got? So, question from Wolf Airsoft MI. If you had a 5-man team, which role would you find ideal, i.e. 1 support gunner, 1 DMR, 3 riflemen? Ooh. Wolf, whatever your real name is, I think it kind of depends on the event that you're going to. Some event runners will only allow you to have specific roles.
Yes.
If you're going out to your local field, I think 1 support gunner is awesome. I don't know what your local field allows for a DMR platform for a higher FPS level, but I think you sort of have it nailed down here pretty well. 1 support gunner, 1 DMR, and 3 riflemen.
I was going
Sorry, that's
to
not
say
a
a
great
general
answer.
fire team in the military is 1 support weapon. So in a two fire team group, which would make 1 squad, there'd be 2 of each one of these roles. So you're looking at 1 support weapon per fire team, 1 grenadier, 1 fire team lead,
What about a medic?
a medic or rifleman split between the whole squad, 1 actual corpsman, and then 2 combat lifesavers, and then the rest are all riflemen. So that's a pretty decent mix. I mean, if you wanted to make it like real life, that's not a bad mix for BB Warzing either. That's a pretty well balanced group of guys. So
If your team has the ability, you might want to throw in another support gunner.
support gunners are, in my opinion anyways, the support gunner is the most powerful class, other than the rifleman being able to move and shoot and do all kinds of work. The support gunner is the most powerful class out of every one of those guys listed, because being able to lay down large volumes of fire in continuous bursts, especially with multiple support gunners, oh dude, it just, like, grenadiers and anti-tank guys, I mean, whatever, those aren't very prevalent when you go play often. Medics are important, but you can, if you have 1 really good squared away medic, he can run a whole 10-man squad pretty effectively, but the more support gunners you can get, the better. I'm all about hoses everywhere.
Oh, back to the question about if we're going to Feudal Garden. That is the weekend between the Lion Claws game in New Jersey. It's Phantom Fury, Operation X, the Fallujah game. I'm not sure what they're calling it now. It's between that and then Swift Justice, which is in South Carolina, which is also a Lion Claws event. We probably won't be going to Feudal Garden because we like to try to have a week off between ops, because we're on the road a lot, out there trying to support you guys at games. But you know, we haven't looked into going to their events, but something in the future that we are considering. So.
Well, we did back-to-back games already this year, and that was the worst idea
Yeah,
ever.
like October, we have Irene. We have a game that Lion Claws is putting on in Ohio, which I'm not sure if it's out yet, so I don't know if I can comment too much on that. And then there is another game, random game in October over Swift Justice, one in South Carolina. So we're gonna be gone 3 weekends out of October, so it's gonna be a busy month to end the year. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough one. All right, so let's see here. What do we got? Let's go ahead and pass her back down.
Ooh, long one.
All right, this one's from Renfrew Airsoft. All right, I recently purchased a combat machine M4 from your store, and I am into more local field play, and I was wondering what I need to purchase or to improve the distance and accuracy for my gun, and if you guys could do it for me. Yes, we can do it for you, because it's pretty good. It's pretty simple. You could probably do it yourself if you really want us to teach you. You can come into the store and we can walk you through it right in front of you if you really want to learn, which I'm actually more partial to teaching kids how to do their own stuff than to just giving it to them. To improve your range and accuracy,
barrel setup.
So you're looking at a decent Type 4 barrel.
Bucking.
Nub. If you want to replace the hop up, you can. That'll get you a lot further than putting in springs and stuff like that. That's where I would start personally. That's the stuff I would start with first. If you wanted to do it on a budget, I'd get a Sistema barrel. because out of all the type bores, I think it's a good bang for its buck in quality and, you know, that kind of stuff. You get a Promi Purple bucking, comes with a nub. You can just go ahead and throw that nub in there too. And those items right there will get you a lot of improvement over whatever you were running before.
The only thing I will say is that when you're shopping for a barrel, don't necessarily think the tighter's better. You want to look. You want to look for a barrel.
I know it was a joke, but we were just gonna let it hang.
Yeah. Okay, well I couldn't let it happen, but it's usually a material and quality thing. So for example, a really nice like 605 or 603 will outshoot a crappy 601. Internal bore diameter almost doesn't matter when you factor quality into the equation. So if you get like a nice like stainless steel type bore, it'll shoot really well no matter what diameter it is. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, so like a PDI or a Promi 605, a Sistema Brass really 604, nice. Those will all shoot really well.
Promi 603s and even the Orga 60s if you want like a really super tight bore. But the other thing you can do is use heavier weight ammo, because that goes a long way. The better ammo you use, the better off you are. The further you shoot, the more.
If you're using a tube, try bumping up to a 2.5. You'll notice a performance gain, tighter grouping, farther. It'll hit the target a lot harder too. And then if you upgrade your barrel in that, try 2.8s or 3s. So true.
3s are about, for AEGs, 3s are good around the 400 feet per second, like 350, 400. Anything above that, you can try to go heavier too.
True. All right, moving on. Rex 101898 says, any company make a banana that is already foamed and good to go, or is it better to buy an empty banana and fill it myself? Well, actually, what's interesting, most of the bananas we carry are already pre-filled with cream, so you don't need. Although it's not advertised, they do come with a cream filling as an added bonus from the factory. So keep that in mind when you're buying a banana, even if it doesn't say. Most of the bananas, you can always call and ask us if they have cream in them, but most of them already are pre-filled with cream from the factory.
There you go.
Good. All right, and actually, due to Nikon's tax stamp, I gotta go restart the camera real quick, so give me 1 second.
Okay, next.
Hey, Fullmeister again.
Fullmeister. Chest rigs or plate carriers, and why? Before you say things like no hydration or you can't carry a lot of gear, think of something like an RV with a backpack or
We've done that one before.
WX harness. You have done this?
Yeah, we actually didn't do it. I think this was on the take that we did.
Oh, yeah, no, we didn't do this.
Okay.
You're right.
The reason we think we're getting doubles, in case you don't know, we filmed one with the old camera, and it just, the camera died like 4 times during the filming process, so we're having like deja vu right now. But anyway, answer the question.
Okay. For me, I personally went through this whole transition. I started with a chest rig, went to a plate carrier.
It was a cross draw.
Well, it was a Blackhawk.
It was a Blackhawk cross.
You're getting called out for a cross draw?
Hey, it was like an
I wore a Blackhawk cross draw. Let's not throw stones here.
I used Stone and Eagle
Guys,
Industries.
it's different. Stop.
So anyway.
It's not different.
Those are a mega vest, I think. But anyway.
Rode under it.
But I went from that to pretty much chest rigs, and then I kept reducing what I wear as far as depending what my loadout is.
Eventually, it just became naked.
Yeah, pretty much naked, totally.
Weaves,
but anyway,
weaves pouches out of his chest.
I've worn everything from like a Blackhawk plate or a Blackwater plate carrier. I've worn a slew. I've worn Wasatches from HSGI. I've worn Eagle Industry chest rig, which was my main loadout I wore and sort of fell in love with. I wore it for probably 5 years before I went to my Blue Force chest rig, which is the Rack Minus, which is really awesome. But my typical loadout, I have to have hydration, I have to have enough magazines to keep me in the game, and I have to have
12
I don't carry 12. I carry, my typical loadout's like 8+1.
You just keep trolling over there.
Yeah.
I know.
At least I play.
I'm tired, guys.
Oh, wait, hey. Playing at Still See on Wednesdays is not playing. When's the last time you've been out to an event? Anyway, go on with the...
Okay. So anyway,
bus.
So for me, I like wearing a minimalist loadout. Like plate carriers are a little bit bulky for me. I like to be able to have freedom to move, and if I wear a plate carrier, I get overheated a lot.
True that.
So it really depends what plate carrier you're running. But for me, I personally like chest rigs. I know a lot of plate carriers people wear plate carriers, love it because it distributes the load, which is a big plus to a plate carrier. You can load them out more, and it doesn't really bother you as much. They are heavier, but since it's distributed, you notice it less. Yeah. The only thing is, chest rigs for me, I feel like I can hold more on them, or at least I can hold the same amount of stuff over a smaller area. But then again, like I said, the weight distribution is different. So but
I
you guys
will
might be able to say
So
something
so
about
let's just go down the line.
plate
What is your history? What have
I'm
you
very
won?
similar, but I currently use I use a First Spear Strand Hog. I will say, when it comes to plate carrier stuff, I wouldn't use a plate carrier. I'm pretty picky with stuff. I wouldn't buy a plate carrier unless you plan on buying a really nice plate carrier, because like the cheaper stuff, like you said, it's not gonna distribute load properly. The padding usually sucks on a lot of the cheaper stuff. I'm sorry, but it's true. Especially over those 24-hour games or any games where you're out there for more than a few hours. Especially when the shoulder pads are not very good, it really starts to suck after like an hour or two. It doesn't take long to start wearing you down. So invest in a good set of shoulder pads like the HSGI ones or something. You know, if you're getting a plate carrier, make sure you get a really nice one. Chest rig, since there's not as much going on, you can get away with, you know, like I said, there's not a whole lot of comfort difference between the nicer ones and the cheaper ones, because you don't usually load them out as much. But keep in mind, whenever you're weighing down a rig, the nicer it is usually, or the better of a setup you run, the more comfortable it's going to be over a long period of time.
So we got a First Spear Strand Hog.
Yeah.
Kurt's got a
the rack minus.
the Rack Minus.
I've bounced between chest rigs and plate carriers. I ran the True Spec Ranger rack for the longest time, for like 3 years. And then I switched to the Pantech MBSS with no cummerbund, because I got short arms and it's hard for me to reach things. So right now, I got T-Rex problems. So right now I'm sitting at a Banshee, which I really like. Very simple. I keep some mags, a GP pouch for BBs and miscellaneous things. But they both have the pros and cons. With the chest rig, I was getting sick and tired of all the straps, especially if running a backpack, so that's why I switched to a plate carrier. But it's pretty much what feels comfortable to you. You're gonna probably go through a couple different setups before you find something that is gonna work for you.
What does Swag Factory here have?
Currently, I have a couple plate carriers. I have a Mayflower APC, which rides really well if you get better shoulder pads. The stock shoulder pads are junk. I don't know why they include them or make them.
One too.
Yeah, it's in the bottom of everyone's gear bin. I have an Eagle DPC plate carrier, which works really well.
Those are nice.
I have an SKD Pig plate carrier, which is probably my favorite. And I have the Banshee as well, which if you are just now getting in tactical gear and you're looking for I don't want to say budget, but the Banshee plate carrier is cheaper than others, and it's actually pretty well made.
It's right around 200 now, but Condor makes a version called the Cyclone, which is
It's made in America.
Made in America, and it's right around 120 bucks.
Not bad.
So that's a good deal. Right now, currently, I run an Eagle Industries chest rig, the universal chest rig. I run a Mayflower APC, a Haley D3. Let me see here. I got rid of my Banshee to get the APC. So I try to keep my stuff kind of. I usually use one setup for a long time. When I'm running a chest rig, I might run soft armor underneath it, so I'll run plates and soft armor underneath. So I have an Eagle low vis plate carrier for that. I like both. My D3 is bolted directly to my APC. It doesn't even have straps, so I use my D3 as a panel for my APC. So
sometimes I do wish I had a chest rig though. Not gonna lie, kind of.
That's why you don't sell everything.
Yeah, it's nice to have a giant gear bin.
You always keep one of everything.
I know. But okay,
let's move on.
Go ahead, and John. On a tight schedule.
Merrick Wheeler. What all do I need to use an 11.1 volt LiPo battery?
Use that.
Also looking forward to seeing you guys at Revelations. Well, Revelations is going to be awesome like it was last year. I think it's going to be bigger and better. They have a lot of things in the works. But the 11.1 LiPo stuff, I'm going to pass it over to the techs. These guys over here, so they can spoon feed you better than I can.
I'm not tech, I'm a keyboard pounder.
Yeah,
Well, you are now.
you chair softer.
We might have answered this last.
Yeah, we
might
did
have
answer
answered
that
this
one last week.
before,
Yeah.
but we'll answer it. I'll be quick about it. So technically, you don't need anything to use an 11.1 volt LiPo battery. It's not like you're going to hook up the battery to the gun. It's not going to shoot. It's going to shoot. It's just going to shoot a lot faster than it would with another battery. Now, nothing's necessarily going to break immediately, probably. Just keep in mind things are going to be moving faster, and when things move faster, they have a tendency to wear out quicker. So especially with your trigger contact, since it's a higher voltage, it's going to be rougher on your electrical components. Just keep that in mind. It's not really going to hurt. Depending on the gun, if you're using like a higher quality AEG, it's not going to kill anything immediately. Just over time, it's going to wear faster than it would if you were to use a lower battery.
The one thing that you can do to help that is a big thing with your trigger contacts. You can use MOSFETs, and that'll pretty much protect your trigger contacts. The other thing, as he's saying, it will wear down faster, but keep in mind if your gun's already shooting fast on say a 7.4 or 9.6 volt battery, If you put an 11.1 on it and it goes faster than it's set up to do, you can actually run into problems like your pistons might slam, and your gear set's revolving so fast that it'll actually hit the piston before it fully resets. So there's a lot of different tech stuff you can do to prevent that.
Yeah, but still, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, keep that in mind.
All right.
Here you go, Mr. Love.
That was a pretty legit answer on 11.1, guys. Nice job.
Well, it's because we don't feed people bullshit.
That's
the,
awesome.
That's the point of this, is to not feed you
I'm
bullshit.
now enjoying these videos more. All right, Tyler Peters.
You whooped that one right out.
Are you ready for this, Tyler?
I don't think
I want to
ready.
paint my M4 OD green, but I'm worried about damage to the internals. In order to paint it, do I have to remove my gearbox, barrel, etc.?
That's actually a good question.
Tyler, I have got you covered, bud. I've been painting airsoft guns for 10 years.
So have I. I've been painting a lot.
Yeah.
I've painted everything.
I've been alive for 10 years. That's all I got.
Tyler, you have a couple different options. It depends on the paint job you want to do. If you want to do something fancy like a snake skin, or you want to do something a little bit fancier, disassembling the gun might be easier. But you say you just want to paint it straight OD green, which I would suggest you go to Walmart, Kmart, Target, your mom's kitchen drawer, and get some of that blue painter's tape. All you need to do basically is cover any hole there is in the gun. So you want to fill the magwell with paint. You want to fill the end of the barrel with paint.
Your ejection port.
You want to make sure your ejection port is closed. And just to double check, I would actually throw a layer of paint, tape in underneath it, and then force it closed over the paint. Yeah. And then if you have a really big hole where your trigger comes through the lower body, you might want to jam some up right in there.
And your motor plate.
And the bottom of your pistol grip and your motor plate. Yeah. And then before you would paint it, if you're going to use Krylon or something like that, I might suggest wiping it down so that you get all the dirt off it, get the oils off it, and then spray away, bud.
Go ham. Just.
I will say I'm trying to think. It's the Krylon camo, I believe. It's the camo specific paint.
Nice.
Matte stuff. I like that stuff a lot.
I like that stuff a lot. That's almost all I use.
Yeah, make sure to use flat.
Yeah, don't get gloss. Don't get enamel. Don't get gloss. Krylon camo spray paint. It's matte.
And actually,
that's what you want.
If you pick up some fishnet or some netting, you can throw in some cool Navy SEAL fishnet camo in there with your OD green.
Hashtag.
Break it up a little bit.
Hashtag Dev Grooves.
Boom.
Say just don't put that out of your mother's drawer.
Oh crap!
Whoa. We gotta,
keep the fishnet in your mother's drawer.
Don't go to your mother's drawer.
Fishnet.
All right, I got a big one. All right, so Hey-o. All right, so this one is from Seraphim Airsoft. Just recently purchased a new barrel hop-up setup from Amped. Robbie was super helpful, so thanks.
What do you expect? Really?
Just wanted to know, on a properly functioning P-Star running .4s, what should be my approximate range able to consistently hit a target with an Orga wide bore at a 363 length, a ProWin, Promi Soft, Firefly flat nub. Just a ballpark estimate is cool. Thanks again, guys. Psych with Seraphim Airsoft.
What do you think, like 3 miles?
My gun,
500.
my gun with a 260 Orga, so a 10-inch barrel Orga, with the flat, purple, red nozzle, red poppet, all that stuff.
Magic dust, 90 to 100.
.4 pixie dust, the missing 4s. They're like Sasquatch, I guess. But that gun, I was able to consistently hit between 250 and 300 feet.
Yep.
Somewhere in that range, depending on how much hop I had, what the weather conditions were, all kinds of random stuff like that.
On average,
body size target.
Like 9.
Yeah, body size target.
100.
Yeah,
with
closer on, you got
effective
arc
combat range. You know, when you're on the field, you're not going to hit targets as far as you will if you're bench shooting like from your house. You know, so what's really scary though, at 90 yards, like the 4s still smack pretty hard.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Can't wait
that
for
was
white
that was my gun. My gun
4.3s
would
or
shoot.
4.5s.
My gun would shoot about
Yeah.
250 to 300 feet consistently.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, at that range, they're still going to feel it because, like I said, it's hitting hard. It's not going to lose its momentum as fast as like a lighter weight BB.
You'll be able to hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it from a while out. So.
Yeah. I can't even throw rocks that far, so awesome.
All right,
go BB guns.
Oh, my turn. We'll do a couple. We have time for a couple more. That was last week. I don't know why there's doubles in here. I might have goofed, guys.
I'm blaming you. You're the one that cuts the questions.
I know. I don't know what happened. These aren't. This is weird. Okay. Ethan Flores or Floors. I'm guessing Flores because I'm trying to be politically correct here. Hey guys, love the show. I wanted to know if you could give me a tip on what would be a good Polar Star setup for CQB and field, tank, gun, line, regulator, etc. Well, you want a full setup. Well, that solely depends on what you want to do. I mean, obviously the gun, that'll depend on what you want, what type of mags you want, what type of gun you want. I guess we can talk about air efficiency a little bit while we're on it. Obviously the bigger tanks are going to yield more efficient results. Now, keep this in mind when you're buying a tank. As the sizes get bigger, they don't technically get heavier because the lighter tanks like the 62s and the 68s, some of those are aluminum, and we include those in some of our Polar Star packages. They're a little cheaper, but they're considerably heavier. They can be heavier than the 90 cubic inch tanks, which are carbon fiber. So once you get into the carbon fiber tanks, the price of the tanks almost doubles, but it's a lot lighter. The tank is typically shaped in more of a ball, so it's not the aluminum tanks are like tall and cylindrical, and then the carbon fiber tanks round out a little bit. And as I said, they're a lot lighter when they're filled, and they're just nicer tanks. So keep that in mind whenever you're shopping for it. But other than that, I think
carbon fiber is also a lot more durable.
Yeah, they're also rated to 4,500 psi as opposed to 3,000 with the aluminum tanks. So you get a lot more air out of them.
If you're on a budget and you have enough for a 90 cubic inch, typically if you buy two 62s, you're getting more cubic inches for a cheaper price too. So.
Well, on the 62 and 90s, the only problem, if you do that, the only downside you have to think about is air fills, because it costs, most places are going to charge you, we'll say $3 for a 62 or $4, whereas a 9, they're probably going to charge you $4 to $5. So an 8 or a 62, you're going to get about 1,860 shots per tank. A 90-45 at max PSI, that's at max PSI and stuff, you're going to get about 4,000 shots. So you just have to decide what you want to do. But yeah, that's always an option if you're on a budget. So
True.
it's a good.
So he had asked,
thing.
the original question I think asked about a CQB gun setup. I would say shorter, CQBR length. If you're a local tech,
CQB and field.
Let's see here. If you were
can shim your trigger for you maybe.
if you're looking for something that's good all around, you're going to want something that's got a 10.5 inch barrel, because you'll be fine out on the field. You'll be good up close. Depending on what brand of body you want, depends on your cost. So you could run anywhere from a combat machine body, which will save you a lot of weight, or you could get a GMP like a Mark 18, VFC Mark 18s, the Mod 1s and 2s. You could get SOCOM gear, which are VFC. You could get anything, really. That just depends on your play style. You might want to grab something with a collapsible stock. That might probably be helpful too. So you might not want like a classic Army, like SPC for example, that's got a full stock but a regular 14.5 inch barrel. You might want something that if you're smaller, you might want a collapsible stock.
On the
air rig wise, tank wise, like let's say if you want to if you want to get something that's good all the way around, you might want to get like an LPR or a Firebase rig, so that way you can buy any tanks. Because if you get an SLP rig, you're going to need to get SLP tanks in particular. Tank size is going to depend on how much you want to carry. Line length, most line lengths we sell are around 30 inches. I'm 6'1". A 30-inch line is perfect for me, and I can still transition shoulders just fine. Some people prefer it to be a little longer. Some people prefer it to be a little shorter.
Yeah, actually,
we do 24, 30, 36, and 42-inch lines.
30 is typically what we recommend. That fits most people. So, especially if you run it over the shoulder, which saves a lot of length. We typically run them over the shoulder. So if you have a plate carrier or chest rig, run it through your shoulder pad, and then you can just bend it up into your gun. And that way, like I said, the 30-inch length is pretty much universal if you run it in that configuration.
So then our base Raider with a tank, air rig, battery to run it, built into the gun is like it's like $690 to $700 right in that range.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. On the note of the length of line, one thing that determines what length you need is how far down your backpack sits on your back. If you have a backpack that sits high, a 30 inch is probably going to be more than enough. However, if you have a backpack that sits real low on your back, then you may need a 36. Because I know whenever I switch backpacks, I have one backpack, my Grey Ghost gear backpack, which sits real low, and I have to run a 42 on that. But on my HSGI backpack, a 36, actually about a 30 is about right. So definitely keep that in mind. Another thing to note on air rigs, sort of touch base on SLP as well, because a lot of people have questions about it. SLP tanks, for the most part, I mean, they're... Okay, 690. Okay. The 690 was the cost of the Raider, or the G&G Combat Machine package, and that's everything. That's your gun, battery, SLP rig, SLP tank, and I think that's it.
Yeah, that should be it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, SLP is pretty much the exact same thing as a normal tank, other than the regulator's different. So,
The output pressure of the tank.
and they're very reliable too.
All right, Kurt.
So
We have time for one more question.
One more.
one more.
Do it.
More.
Okay, Jay Stanley. I know you guys run flat hop in most of your guns, but what are your opinions on our hop? Thanks and keep up the good work. Well, thank you. As far as flat hop and R hop, we have tinkered around with R hop. We've done several installs. We have actually seen other professional installs as well. And when it comes to flat hop, a lot of times the reason we recommend it is because it's very easy to install and it's quick and it gets very similar results. R hop, side by side, at least in the setups I've done and I've seen in other setups, they perform very similarly. Some of the times I've seen professional ones done, I don't know who they were installed by, but when compared to like my flat hop setup that I was running at the time, I was actually having more accurate results and we were both getting about the same range. So I don't know what that was about, but as I've done them, they are very, very similar. R hop may give you slightly better accuracy at different times of flight path, throughout the BB's flight path, but the end result is they both, as far as maximum range and maximum accuracy, they're very, very similar. So, you know, flat hop typically takes maybe 15 minutes to install or less. Whereas R hop, what happens is it's going to take, you have to actually form the actual R hop patch. You have to redo it several times. You have to tune it right. So that can take upwards of, you know, an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the gun. So the big issue, 15 seconds. Okay, I was going to say the big thing with flat hop is it's nice because you don't need somebody to professionally install it. And if something happens, you can easily undo it yourself and reinstall a flat hop versus having to ship it out, ship your gun out, have everything tuned. So.
All right, guys. Well, this has been another episode of Ask Amp. We got our special guest Oliver here. Tell us about what kind of stuff you're going to be seeing in the future for your endeavors.
Oh boy. So I run a team called A-Team Milsim, and traditionally we have played as the Op4 at national events around the country. We're going to continue doing the same thing. We just came on board with American Milsim, and we're going to be helping run some of the dam missions for them. So we're pretty excited about that. Pretty excited to see you guys out there. We got a couple great companies that help us out. Polar Star, just like these guys, an amazing company that's helping our team out run probably the best BB guns right now on the market. I can say that. I don't know if they can say that, but I love them.
Thank you. My guns work sometimes.
They work on occasion. They work more than my AEGs ever did. So
yes, we're not doing that bad.
But yeah, hopefully we'll see you on this field soon, guys.
All right, so then this has been Anthony. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. There's probably other stuff.
Tinder.
Maybe.
Tinder. We should go on.
So we got Oliver Love.
Tinder and Kite.
We got John, Kurt,
Kurt,
and Robbie.
I'm Robert.
Have a good evening, guys. Talk to you later.
Bye,
Hey,
guys.
guys.